justice and peace and equality.
Game Changers Magazine, Game Changers Media Network, Voices of the Village podcast, where change starts with conversation. And today we have a special guest, Mr. Mishael White. How you doing today, sir?
Hey, how you doing, brother? What's going on?
Man, good, man. Just celebrating the Labor Day weekend, the working class American people.
Absolutely.
You know, we're back in the office today,
Right.
But we're back in the good things, and we're glad to have you on our show, man.
I'm glad to be here. You know, it's a lot going on in the world right now.
Yes.
You know, it's a lot going on in Henry County. So
Okay.
I'm just glad to be here to chop it up with you.
Man, for those who don't know who Mishael White is, who is Mishael White, man?
I'm a husband, a father.
Okay.
Been married to my high school sweetheart for 24 years.
Awesome.
I have 6 beautiful children, 3 boys, 3 girls. I ran for office last year,
Okay.
State House District 81.
Okay.
And I am going to be running again next year for the state legislature.
Awesome. And what is House District 81? What district does that cover?
Oh, that covers basically unincorporated McDonough and Locust Grove. So we're talking about from Kellytown, Lake Dow, Tussa Hall, Sandy Ridge,
Okay.
East Lake, Locust Grove, Grove Park, that entire area.
Okay. Now you mentioned that you ran last year, not last year, but the last time the election was up for grabs.
Yeah.
What were some of the things that you feel, made you run again and say, pivot from the last campaign to today?
Well, I look at it like this. I didn't lose. I ran out of time.
Okay.
I got in a race relatively late. Because it was a gerrymandered district, and of course with everything that's going on the national stage right now with Texas gerrymandering, this is something straight out of the Republicans' playbook to consolidate power and basically undermine our democracy.
Okay.
And so when I found out that there was a gerrymandered seat where there was no Democrat on the ballot and apparently no one wanted to run, I said, well, I'll do it.
Okay.
And so I jumped at that opportunity.
Okay.
We had ran a pretty good campaign, all things considered.
Right.
And like I said, I didn't lose, I ran out of time. And so it's like, look, if you don't get something the first time, you keep going. And the thing about that is I wanted to set an example.
Okay.
Especially for my children, especially for my sons, about what it means to be persistent and persevere and overcome adversity. That's the American story.
That is definitely the American story. Overcoming challenges,
Absolutely.
Breaking cycles, building bridges, being the change that we want to see.
Exactly.
Now, in running for office, and I heard you talk about gerrymandering.
Absolutely.
We've consistently seen the goalposts move in Georgia. I mean, as not just Democrats, but African American Democrats emerge to become leaders in community. Right. And even once they become leaders in the community, it's a lot of gerrymandering going on. Right. So tell us about that, and some of the pushback that comes with the way these things are happening.
Well, look, I think gerrymandering does serve a useful purpose in the execution of democracy. It's one of the reasons why the Founding Fathers put that into the Constitution.
Right.
But what we're seeing here as of late, especially in the age of MAGA and Trump, is a misuse and abuse of that power.
Gotcha.
And again, as I stated, it's a way to water down
Yes.
certain communities and their ability to execute political power to push for the policies that may benefit those communities.
Yes.
And so again, we see Republicans, running this playbook. And look, I even have people, ask me, well, why are you running if you know you can't win? Why are you running in a gerrymandered district? And I tell them, I said, well, look, even a rigged game is fun to play.
Yes.
You can't win if you don't get in the game.
Correct.
You get in the game, you never know something could happen.
Yes.
An October surprise. You never know. So you can't win if you don't try. And then the other thing about this is I think as Democrats, we need to send an unequivocal message to Republicans that you can gerrymander, but you're still going to have to fight.
Right.
You can gerrymander all you want, but you're still going to have to fight. And I think once we get that in our mind as Democrats that we are going to compete and
Yes.
for every seat, then it kind of lessens the incentive for Republicans to rely so heavily
Okay.
on gerrymandering.
All right.
Let's have fair seats,
Okay.
fair races, and let the best platform and the best ideas win. That's what pushes our democracy in America forward. The history shows us that.
Right. Now, I remember the point where the Henry County Democratic Party had a strong presence in the community. Had a very strong presence in the community. People were engaged. People were active. We flipped seats. We turned the county blue.
Absolutely.
Right now, I don't see the Democratic Party of Henry County pushing initiatives, pushing actions. What's going on in the Democratic Party, and what's, because I don't believe we as the people are receiving the information, as we should. What's going on with the Democratic Party of Henry County?
I think there's a lot of fatigue
Okay.
going on right now.
Okay.
I think in the age of Trumpism and MAGA politics,
Okay.
there's kind of been this receding of engagement from the Democratic Party's historic coalitions.
Okay. Okay.
But with that being said, I'll just be honest with you. I'm not relying on the Democratic Party, the Henry County Democratic Party.
Okay.
I'm not asking for permission to run for this seat. I'm not asking for permission to flip this seat. And look, when everyday working people, look, I'm a working guy.
Yes.
Blue collar.
Yes.
And the thing that I want people to understand in 2026 is that working regular people have something to say.
Yes, they do. And that's one thing. I was talking to candidate Xavier Johnson for District 1, City Council of McDonough, just on yesterday, where we were talking about the hardworking man, the hardworking woman, the blue collar. Because Henry County has created a demographic of people who get up and go to work 5 a.m. to 2 p.m., the warehouse worker, the ones who drive the trucks, the ones who move the economy.
Absolutely.
How do you relate to those people, and why do you choose to represent that demographic?
Well, because I'm one of them. Look,
Okay.
I know what it is to sit and look at, your bank statement and then look at your expenses and
Yes.
like, okay, how am I going to balance this? How am I going to make ends meet?
Right.
And as working people and regular people, one of the things that we feel is no one's really listening to us.
Okay.
And I think in a lot of ways that's harmed the Democratic Party more than the Republican Party. If you look at any of the public polling right now, the Democratic brand is just as unpopular and toxic as
Yes, it is.
the Republican Party and Donald Trump.
Correct.
And that's for good reason, because historically, the Democratic Party was considered and looked at as the party of the working man, the working woman, regular everyday folk. And
Right.
here, I'd say over the last several years, it's been being perceived as more of a specialized party with specialized targeted messages to certain individuals, and so regular everyday people feel like no one is really listening to us. And when we do hear issues that are being posited by the Democratic Party, a lot of times they feel like it's just surface and it's just superficial. There's not really any teeth in it to really address the issues and the concerns of everyday working Americans.
And I definitely understand that. The messaging in the Democratic Party is definitely tainted. It's definitely need to be revised, revisited, reframed.
Absolutely.
Because we got to a point where we were segregating the message. And we categorized people. We went from being transgender to gay to all of that, the black woman, the black man. It's like, man, let's just hit the people. What's the message for the people?
Exactly.
And I like the fact that you talk about the hardworking, everyday person, because when it comes to representing the people, the demographic for the working class man who can't get off his job to go vote early, who can't, what they count to. Why does that matter so much to you?
Well, it's like you said, because there are more of those people than any other demographic in the country.
Correct.
Most of us are just regular and average.
Okay.
But we still want our fair shot at the American dream and feel like the American dream is working for us.
Definitely.
And so I'm running to represent those people. I'm from the soil, man. I'm a Hurricane Katrina survivor.
Wow.
I came here in 2006.
Okay.
In the wake of that destruction. So I've seen firsthand what happens when you have policies that don't look out or don't prioritize regular people, and that end in disaster. And so, just over these last 19 years, Georgia has been good to me. And so this is my way to give back and to say thank you, Peach State, for welcoming a New Orleans Saint.
Yes, sir, man. Shout out to my New Orleans family, man, all across that's tuned in, man. Them Woe boys, them Saint boys,
Right.
Shout out to them. Who that, man? You know what I'm saying? I can't wait. And it's football season kicking off, so it's gonna be some little controversy there, man. A lot of things going on. Now, you talked about Katrina, man. How did that affect your family and moving here in the way that you pivot now?
Oh, well, it was, surreal.
Okay.
To go through that and experience that. No one ever really thinks that their life is going to be turned upside down by a cataclysm, by an act of God. And so, look, I got to put my big boy pants on and figure this thing out. And, glory be to God, I've been able to build a life here in Georgia with my family, my wife and my children.
Okay.
I've been able to, find income that pays the bills and gives me certain, fringe benefits.
Yes.
And I think at the end of the day, that's what every American fundamentally wants.
They definitely want that. And now you talked about being able to pay your bills and take care of your family. I mean, it's a lot of families that came from Katrina,
right, that
came from New Orleans, that came to Atlanta looking for relief, looking for a different life that was different. Mm-hmm. Okay. What about how did that affect that community and rebuilding that community and bringing hope back to the city,
right.
Because I know with you being from New Orleans and you kind of being in the middle of that, you have seen the ups and the downs.
Absolutely.
So how did that restore hope?
Well, it's because what it did is it showed what's possible with government.
Okay.
Not big government, not small government, but
okay.
effective government.
Correct.
And I think that as legislators and politicians, that should be our main objective, is to make sure that what we're doing, the policies that we're implementing as representatives of the people,
okay.
benefit the people and are making their communities places of opportunity and not places of obstacles. Okay. Now you look at what the Trump administration has been doing, and it seems as if they're hedging their bets and doubling down on the latter, which is they want to make more obstacles for everyday working people. Okay. I mean, you look at what they're doing with FEMA.
Yes.
Defunding FEMA. Now, FEMA was a major component of the relief efforts in the wake of Hurricane Katrina, but I think everyone remembers the bumbling by the George W. Bush administration in those first few days in the wake of that destruction. So much so to the point that we all know that famous Kanye West quote: "George Bush doesn't care about black people." And if you think about that, look at how far we've drifted away from that perspective to where we are now, to where it appears as if Trump doesn't care about anyone.
Right.
With the policies he's implementing, it's going to hurt white people, black people, immigrants, all of us.
Yes.
You see, and so, as legislators, as politicians, our fundamental objective is to make sure that the government is operating in a way that's effective and going to create opportunity, not obstacles.
Now, I like the fact that you talked about how what the current president of the United States is, how he's affected everyone. Because we just recently saw where a white male was arrested in front of the White House for burning the American flag because he didn't even believe in the values and the principles that President Trump was even administering. All these, he's signing an execution order every day. Right. I mean, my God, when are you ever at peace?
Right. Well, I'm kind of split on that.
Okay.
I don't disagree with everything Donald Trump is doing, and maybe it's something I shouldn't say publicly as a Democrat, but I had hopes for President Trump, especially that first time, because I did believe that he had the ability, the propensity to be a transformative president in a positive way.
Okay.
But as we all can see, he's went the other direction with it.
Yes.
I don't think at this particular time, just where the mood of the country is, that we should be normalizing extreme protests against the United States, like burning the flag. And the reason why is because it's something that you and I were talking about off screen of how polarized everything is.
Yes.
And this is something that I tell my wife, my friends, and other just people that I talk to about these issues that's going on in America. We have to tread very lightly with the political climate in this country. Because anything can set something off.
Yes, it definitely can.
We've seen glimpses of it. We've seen it in Los Angeles when President Trump sent the National Guard to L.A. We've seen it where he deployed the National Guard to Washington, D.C. And so the thing that I want people to understand is that we have to remain calm.
Yes.
And tread very lightly and be very delicate with this American project, because democracy isn't guaranteed. The things that we take for granted, we have to work to make America work. Make America exist. Anything can set something off, and I think everyone needs to pay attention to that.
We definitely, I definitely 100% agree with you on that, and I also agree with you that you have to be able to work across party lines. I believe we defined Republican, Democrat, and created our own Bloods Crip war. That's right here in America. Yeah, it's turning into a Bloods Crip war. And pretty much, I'm looking at it like, when are the American people going to start working together? Because China, Russia, all of these countries are working together, creating a brick system to basically eliminate the American currency, pretty much. And like, when do we begin to unify and say, we the people?
Absolutely, and that's what it's about, and that's what my campaign is about. My campaign is about unifying the District 81 around the issues that unite us, that we have more in common than not in common. If we get past the superficial, categories that we identify with, Republican, Democrat, black, white.
Yes.
We have to understand that we share a space together. We are in community with one another. Now, I think one of the main issues that has led to such polarization is, on the right you have a very activist agenda. Yes. And on the left you have a very crusadist agenda, where we have these activists and these crusaders. Yes. And so what's happened is it's made it very hard for Republicans and Democrats to meet in the middle and just bang out effective, smart, common sense policies that are going to benefit the entire American people.
Most definitely, man. And I believe the American people are looking for relief. They're looking for solidarity. We're looking for a space where it's not divided again. Now, speaking of divided, we wanted to let's go back to where we were talking about in the Democratic Party, and I know you stated that you were depending on permission from the Democratic Party to run. What drew you to that point?
Well, it's just more or less, taking the initiative as a man, and taking responsibility for the direction of my community and my country. Right. And what history shows us is that when regular, everyday people do that, that's what truly makes America great. Yes. And so, I'm not looking for permission from the political establishment. Now, if they, help and support and give me that blessing, that's fine. But I'm not making that a requisite for what I'm doing. I'm going to do it with or without you.
Most definitely, man. And we need people who can stand on that, man. We can need people who can stand on, solid. We just need real men, real women back to work, the working class Americans, to bridge the gap and have that voice. We're gonna have to go to a commercial break, man.
Okay.
We got Mishael White, candidate for House District 81, state of Georgia, right here on Voices of the Village podcast. Game Changers Magazine, Game Changers Media Network, Voices of the Village podcast, where change starts with conversation. You guys stay tuned. Ease up.
Is your baby mama tripping and won't let you see your kid? Don't know how to get your parental rights and want to be in your child's life? The Legit Lawyer is your #1 choice for legitimation, custody, and visitation to help start your journey of having a healthy relationship with your kids. We offer affordable rates and walk with you every step of the way so you can smile again and enjoy quality time with your kids. Our 30-minute free consultation gives you a scope of the tools needed to help you win the battle. At Legit Lawyer, we believe every father deserves the right to be in their child's life and to have a healthy relationship with the ones you love. Call us today at 769-DAD-WINS or visit us online at www.thelegitlawyer.com and let us help you to get legit. #DadsWin.
Did you know 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer? And studies show men die faster from breast cancer due to late detection. At Breast Are Us, we're changing the game with safe, painless, and radiation-free ultrasound screenings for both men and women. Our ultrasound screenings are quick, 15 minutes or less, with no compression, no pain, and implant-safe technology. Our scans help detect breast cancer earlier, especially in women with dense breast tissue, where traditional mammograms can miss. Ultrasound increases cancer detection from 47% to 97%. Why wait? Take advantage of this special, only $249. Early detection could save your life or the life of someone you love. Call us today at 478-258-3431 or visit breastarus.com. Breast Are Us, protecting lives through early detection.
All right, Game Changers Magazine, Game Changers Media Network, Voices of the Village podcast, where change starts with conversation. We're back with Mishael White, candidate for House District 81. We in here.
District 81, stand up.
81, stand up, man. It's funny because District 81 is unique. District 81 was unique. It's a growing demographic.
Absolutely.
Where it's outside, like you said, outside unincorporated McDonough Kellytown Road. Yeah. So you riding back roads and ain't nothing inside.
It's rural sections.
Okay.
And it's growing. There are new subdivisions coming in, things of that nature. And I know specifically some of the concerns that our residents have is with all of the development.
Yes.
And so one of the things that I'm committed to is making sure that we are investing in our infrastructure to reduce traffic congestion. Making investments in roads and sidewalks to help with the quality of life. Like there's certain parts in District 81, if you want to go for a walk, there's nowhere to walk. There's no sidewalks. You're basically walking in the street on the side of a road. But the development is good, but we want to have smart development. We want to have smart investment. But the first thing that the residents care about, and I tend to agree with them, is we want to make sure we have a robust infrastructure so we 10-minute commute to the store doesn't turn into 40 minutes, 50 minutes, just because the volume of traffic that's on the road. So it just has to be smart.
Now, and speaking of the volume of the traffic on the road, and I believe one of the cities McDonough and Locust Grove is extremely suffering from the setback of not being ahead of the game when it comes from. But I also have to put that on Henry County. Right. Because and the state of Georgia, because so it's almost like teamwork's made the dream work, and we got to look at it because these state routes, I mean, off of 218, these state routes are just now being built with a growing population. I mean, that's coming in Henry County like lab rats.
And look, this is where Trump's signature piece of legislation this term is the elephant in the room. Because we already know that much of the federal dollars that was being allocated to Georgia has been reduced drastically.
Yes.
And so this may potentially put some of those roadway projects on hold because Governor Kemp may have to reprioritize funds that were allocated for those projects to meet other needs and cover other things because there's been a reduction in federal funding. And and of course I'm talking about the big beautiful bill.
Yes.
And it's also that President Trump can enrich his billionaire friends and his corporate cronies. Think about that.
And I definitely agree with you, and I'm on a catch-22 with that.
Okay.
The reason being is back 5 years ago, State Representative Derrick Jackson, who recently was just on our show, he emphasized how the state of Georgia received COVID relief funds, and we have over 700,000 small businesses in Georgia, and 0 of those small businesses receive COVID relief funding from the state. Right? So it's money in the reserve. We know Georgia is operating in a surplus,
Absolutely.
So is Governor Kemp using the messaging of Trump to say, I'm not going to give any money and just his bailout, or is the money really not there?
Well, no, I think the money is there. Last time I checked, if memory serves me correct, Georgia had about an $18 billion surplus.
Surplus, correct.
Now, with that being said, I am going to have to tip my hat to Kemp because I do think Governor Kemp, because I do think overall he's done a pretty good job. Okay. But that means we need to do better.
Yes,
and that's my position on it. So I do think that the money is there, but again, there's a caveat now because we have this elephant in the room with President Trump and this big beautiful bill and the reduction in federal dollars that's coming to the state of Georgia, and so we don't know how that's going to affect and impact everything. Cities and city councils and mayors and the governor, and we're going to have to make some tough decisions on what we are going to prioritize as a state and where dollars and funding goes. Matter of fact, earlier this year I had the opportunity to tour the Henry County Learning and Support Center. And it was, I had no idea it was there, but it's a center that helps children and families in need. We're talking about health care. We're talking about help with food. We're talking about help with clothing, anything that a family and a student would need. And I had the opportunity to talk with the executive director. And she, I was like, well, this is beautiful. This is all good. But how much of what is going on in Washington, D.C. is going to affect you guys? And what she told me as well is something that we are concerned about, we are watching, because we get approximately $8 million in federal funding for our facility to operate, to be able to pay staff, to be able to pay the doctors that we have on call if there's a health emergency for a student or a family member. And so these things are going to have a ripple effect and an impact. And so, and that was, doing with Doge and Elon Musk and, cutting the USAID money. And so I just want people to understand that, look, when things get rough here in Henry County, don't blame the chairwoman. Don't blame the board of commissioners. Don't blame the mayor. Right?
Gotcha.
You have to understand how this all works and ties together. That is money that was coming to Georgia. That's now not coming, so Donald Trump can give money to billionaires.
And it's so funny that you mentioned, we're talking about blaming our governors, our commissioners, and things of that nature. I think the ball gets passed back and forth to where, messaging. How are you communicating? What are you saying? Are you communicating your constituents? What are you doing to keep your people informed? And what I've seen from 2020 to 2025 is those same people that we voted in are becoming our enemies. Like, it's almost like, oh, I don't like, we were supposed to come in and build each other up, but it's like, oh, I don't deal with this person, I don't deal with, like, we nitpicking now when we become boule.
Right. And that's kind of the thing. Like, one thing I don't want to see us doing is attacking one another.
Correct.
We have to learn how to put our differences aside and come together. And again, this even transcends the party line.
Absolutely.
Because this wasn't the best interest of our constituents and the representatives of the communities that we represent. Right. And so, that's kind of where I've been with that. Like, I don't want to attack, just everyday regular people and local politicians and things of that nature. Again, you have to understand how there's this interplay between the state and the federal government, and how they're supposed to work together, again, to make our communities places of opportunities, not places of obstacles. But it appears as if President Trump, is doubling down on the latter with this big beautiful bill. And then on top of that, it doesn't even do anything to address the deficit. It makes it even worse. It adds to the deficit and to the debt. I'm like, come on,
man.
I can understand if Trump and congressional Republicans were asking Americans to make sacrifices and tough decisions so that we could address our budget deficit and our debt in a realistic way to reduce it, but it's not.
Correct.
It's only so you can enrich and fatten the pockets of billionaires and this burgeoning oligarchy.
Man, you better tell it, man. And I look at it as, if we're looking at the chain of command, and like you say, we're going down the chain of command. A lot of people say politics starts local.
Absolutely.
So again, we definitely don't want to point the finger at anybody and say, hey, you're the sole person that this is not happening. But is that
now? There is one caveat to that.
Okay.
There is a caveat.
Okay.
There's always a caveat. The caveat to that is if that person didn't in a very overt way support the policies that's coming down from Donald Trump's administration.
Okay.
Now if you're a local politician and you ran on that and you pushed that and you promoted that, well, then I do have to point my finger at you because you conscripted all of us to this mess that's coming out of the White House right now. That's going to hurt. Look, it's going to hurt seniors. We know this. They're talking about cutting Medicare, Medicaid. They want to privatize Social Security.
Okay.
So this is going to have an effect on our seniors, an adverse effect on our seniors.
It's definitely going to have an adverse effect.
It's going to hurt our school system.
Okay.
Students and working families and all of these demographics that even if you look at it from a biblical perspective, that Jesus would consider the least of these.
Amen.
And we know what Jesus said, when you did it to me, when you did it to the least of these.
Absolutely.
And that's what we see the Trump administration doing. And I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that it's not on purpose.
Okay.
It's not a very deliberate thing, but that's the way it appears to be. It appears that he's doing this deliberately to the least of these in American society.
Man, great point, Mr. White. I definitely appreciate that perspective and bringing it back to a very biblical, spiritual principle, in how we operate day to day. I think that's how we got to communicate with people, because we know Georgia to be one of the Bible Belt states.
Absolutely.
So we definitely know that values, spirituality, religious values are there.
Absolutely.
Now, the one thing. With Trump being voted in this last term, Mexicans, Latinos, all type of people believed in his messaging. Make America great again.
Right.
We're going to do this. 3 months later, he sends the Mexicans out of the country with ICE, the same people who voted for him, But I look at that in a opposition way. Did the Democratic Party get tired of the black message? Because I believe we gave up. I believe 2020, like, we thought we got to get somebody that look like us in office. We got to get somebody that represents us. We need this, and you know, when it comes down to certain cultures, we got to do things fast. We got to do things. They got to see something, you know.
Right.
Even though it's taking 400 years to get,
Right.
you know,
Right.
well, they got to see something. What is the state of, you know, black people again trusting the Democratic Party? And I know we got to reach more than black people, but I'm talking about the base of the Democratic Party.
Right. Absolutely. No, you know what? There's a lot of cynicism amongst the black community as it relates to politics more generally, but specifically as it relates to the Democratic Party.
Gotcha.
And part of that is the Democratic Party's fault. They're going to have to take some responsibility and accountability on that. So because you can't just play identity politics and be like, well, look, I'm going to put up a black face and y'all black, so just vote. Doesn't work that way.
Correct.
We're more sophisticated than that as a community of people.
Right.
Now, with that being said, I do put some responsibility and accountability on the black community because, look, I'll just be honest. Some of the things that I run across when I'm running for office and talking to people in our community is there tends to be this position as if they're doing me a favor. Look, let's break it down to brass tacks. A state representative only makes about $17,000 to $24,000 a year. I'm not looking to get rich doing this.
Correct.
This is about representing you. You know, and not just because you're black, but because you're an American,
hard-working American.
You're in this community, and we have specific things that we need to address because of that. And so, look, you're not doing me a favor by voting. You're paying taxes, and when you pay taxes, you have a say in what is going to happen with that money. My job as a state representative and a state legislator is to go get the money.
Correct.
They go get the money so the mayors of McDonough, mayors of Locust Grove, they can work with the city council and fulfill the needs of the constituents of the area. Right? So again, you're not doing me a favor by voting and having your say in the destiny of your community. And so one of the things that I want to challenge about our community, especially brothers, because I run across this more with brothers. Look, we can't just continue to sit back and allow I ain't gonna do nothing. So what? It don't matter. Now, because you hear that, well, vote don't matter. Why are black people the only community told that their vote doesn't matter? We don't hear that when it comes to the Asian community. We don't hear that when it comes to the Hispanic community. And we don't hear that when it comes to the white community. Only in our community are we given this counter message that our vote doesn't matter. Where if it didn't matter, you wouldn't have forces who are doing everything in their power to make sure it won't matter by gerrymandering. I mean, you look at what happened in Texas. We're talking about erasure of black political power and black political representation. Now, I'll give the Democratic Party credit with one thing. They are very correct when they say that a rising tide lifts all boats. And so the reason why I'm saying that, because what the information and what the data shows is that when black people do well, everyone does well. Because we tend to be at the lowest on the totem pole. And so when we're lifted up, it lifts up everyone else. But again, just don't sit here, brother, and you ain't vote. And I can go look and see you ain't voting 4 election cycles. You know what I mean? You don't know who your state representative is.
Come on now.
You're not going to the school board meeting. You're not engaged and involved in any way, and then think that government is supposed to work for you. You have to make it work for you. You can't take it for granted. And so, look, as a community, we're going to have to be more involved, and we're going to have to be more vocal. And if you're in District 81 and you want to be more involved, hey, I'm right here.
Right there.
Join the fight. This isn't a campaign. It's a movement.
It definitely
That's
is.
what we're doing.
Is,
it's a
man.
movement.
And I'm so glad you mentioned that, and we definitely have a responsibility to get out and vote. We definitely have. Now, I think one of the pushbacks in Georgia with African American men voting is it being ex-offenders. It's a lot, just like it's gerrymandering. It's a lot of red tape for African American men who have been in the system, who have not got their rights restored, their voting rights restored. I get messaging from African American men all the time. Hey man, how do I get my gun rights restored? How did you do that? How did you do this? How did you, So how do we overcome that hurdle?
Well, it's through legislation.
Okay.
Like we have to have a Democratic majority to get anything done.
Gotcha.
Like we have to have control of the House. We have to have control of the Senate, and we have to have a Democratic governor who's going to be willing to sign that type of legislation. Now, it's not going to begin with, listen, brother, if you're an ex-offender, you got to understand that it's not going to begin with your vote. I don't want people to misconstrue what I'm saying.
Okay.
Voting is not the end-all and the be-all of the political process.
Correct.
It is the final manifestation of the political process, but that's not where it really starts at.
Okay.
And I just said it. If you're an ex-offender and you care about this issue and you want to see legislation where we can get your rights restored through passage of a bill that a governor would be willing to sign, well, then that means you're going to have to do some advocacy work. You're going to have to get out here and knock doors and talk to people and volunteer for campaigns and fundraise for representatives who would be willing to present that type of legislation and muster the political will in both of the chambers and get it signed into law. So that's where it really starts at. That's where it really starts at. So if there are any brothers out there dealing with that issue, listen, I'm here.
Man.
I'm ready to work.
I think you hit it. I think you hit it on the head, man. And I hate we got to go to another commercial break because we were just getting fired up with that. That was getting there, man. Shout out to Culturistic Kitchen, Joe DeCo Road, man. You guys make sure you stop by Culturistic Kitchen. Get your grub on. They got the best lamb chops on Wednesday, man. Make sure you stop by there. Also, shout out to a New Well Incorporated adult daycare for IDD. Adults who face IDD. Shout out to New Well. Also, shout out to Kim Mays State Farm celebrating 6 years in business. That's Kim Mays State Farm, and that's Sherry Denard State Farm celebrating 6 years in business, man. Huge shout out to all the businesses that are thriving. If we missed you, man, send us a shout out, and we won't leave you out on the next show. But we got to go to another commercial break. Game Changers Magazine, Game Changers Media Network, Voices of the Village podcast. Well, again, change starts with conversation.
Absolutely.
You guys stay tuned in. Ease up.
At a New Well, we believe every day should be lived with dignity, comfort, and care. Located in the heart of Stockbridge, Georgia, our adult day center offers a safe, welcoming environment where compassion meets quality service. Whether your loved one needs daily support, engaging activities, or just the warmth of a friendly smile, we're here. At a New Well, we provide high-quality care, either in our beautiful facility at 931 Rock Quarry Road or from the comfort of their own home. Our dedicated team ensures every individual lives life to the fullest. And with Medicare Advantage and other insurance options accepted, peace of mind comes standard. So when you're ready to give your loved one the care they deserve, call a New Well today at 1-800-341-0120. That's 1-800-341-0120. Or visit anewwellinc.com, where care, comfort, and compassion flow together.
Fresh Communities, facilitating restoration for equitable and sustainable healthy communities, is a grassroots culmination of over 30 years of Black liberation for rural southern Georgia through creative implementation of economic, political, and cultural entities with a strong Black agenda. Our mission is a worldwide coordinated collaborative strategy empowering every individual with information, opportunities, and creative pathways to make healthy life choices and establish a family and cultural legacy. Fresh is the next genesis for Black liberation that combines proven community strategies with new technological approaches that enhances, restores, and sustains our community. Selecting Census Tract 9504 as the initial site for the Black Liberation Demonstration will create and sustain an ecosystem for justice, economic stability, and wealth creation that can be replicated within the region. The Fresh team, through our Justice Initiative, has been totally involved in leading the effort to demand justice. Plans are in place for a community complex at 1200 College Street that will reflect the values and curriculum of the Highlander Center and a FAR 31 business incubator within the Hub Zone areas. utilizing the former Atlanta Life building on Ossie Davis Parkway as the Mall of Justice, creating central offices and structure for the local and national Black movements operations, along with the leadership and youth training, enabling clear choices for liberation by creating an ecosystem for systemic growth with a shopping center to house and a grocery and dollar store that will market products from Black farmers and producers. This ecosystem of a community center increasing income of over 13 million, thusly supporting new housing development and commercial opportunities that are truly enhancing community wealth. A percentage of the profits from the store and contracts will be placed in a community endowment utilizing a non-direct recognition financial instrument, assuring continued and sustained community growth and wealth.
All right. Game Changers Magazine, Game Changers Media Network, Voices of the Village podcast. Again, where change starts with conversation.
Absolutely.
I cannot stress it enough. Change starts with conversation. And if we're not having a dialogue, we're not getting anything accomplished.
Absolutely.
And we're leaving with misunderstanding. We're leaving with confusion. We're leading with assumption. Right. We're leaving with, a diabolical mind,
Right.
So we got Mishael White, candidate for District 81. Shout out, man.
Yeah.
Shout out, man. You definitely got a race ahead of you. You definitely got, it's a mountain to climb. But hey, we built for this,
Absolutely, yeah.
Now you're challenger. You're challenger. She's been in office 2 years, doing the thing. A lot of people saying she did what she said she was going to do. How would you overcome that obstacle?
Well, that's one of the problems. She did do what she said she was going to do, which is stand in full support of Trump's disastrous policies that we can see from any of the polling isn't popular. Not even with her base or with Republicans.
Okay.
And so that is part of the problem. Now, in terms of my opponent, I think she's a great person. I think she's a great resident of Henry County. But I just think she would be better suited for the community as an activist.
Yes.
And let someone else do the actual representing of the district. Because as a state representative, you are not there to support and represent Donald Trump. You're there to support the people of District 81 and the things that they care about.
Okay.
So, I'm looking to go ahead and push her back into the activist lane, and we're going to get that done in 2026.
Man, but it's crazy because I understand what you're saying, not running out the activism with Donald Trump. Because, we want people who represent what the climate is in Georgia. And, with us at Voice of the Village, we're only informing people. So I don't want you guys to get it in tune like, hey, man, we guys are pro-Democrat, we're pro-Republican. I want to say this because it's so many people that will make assumptions and they will make statements and saying that we're pushing some type of agenda, but our job is to keep people informed and in the know.
Absolutely.
And the one thing that I want to say is how do we negate that with someone who's pushing a Trump policy on a local level when we had Trump just endorse candidate for governor Burt Jones?
Absolutely. Again, it's going back to what I was talking about.
Okay.
From what I understand, Mr. Burt Jones is a member of the 1%.
Wow.
And no matter how great your carefully crafted governor rollout is to make you look like you're an everyday regular person, we know you're not. So you don't understand what those kitchen table issues are that regular people have to think about and what they care about every day when they get up and go out here to work.
Okay.
And again, that's not to besmirch candidate Burt Jones for his success.
Right.
That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that there are more people like you and I.
Yes.
Than there are people like him.
Yes.
And so we're talking about a governor who's going to represent the people.
Yes.
Well, then we know what it is. One thing we do know is that Donald Trump and his policies and his positions are out of touch with the mainstream of American society. And if what I'm saying isn't true, why do you have to gerrymander before the 2026 midterms?
Yes.
It's because and the Republican Party knows that they're out of touch.
Correct.
And that people are way beyond upset.
Yes.
You see, and so at this point, I don't think getting an endorsement from Donald Trump is a great thing. I don't think it's a good thing.
I'm with you.
I don't think that. I think if you look at the writing on the wall,
Okay.
then it speaks for itself. And then if you look at just overall where the economy is trending,
Okay.
it's not good. There seems to be emerging signs and signals of a recession.
Okay.
That may be a deep recession.
Yes.
And so again, Donald Trump's policy, like you mentioned, they say my opponent did what she said she was going to do, but Donald Trump didn't do what he said he was.
What he said he was going to do.
He hasn't reduced costs.
Yeah.
He hasn't made America great again.
Okay.
He hasn't even secured the border.
Right.
The only thing he's accomplished doing is, it appears, is enriching himself and looking out for his billionaire friends and having a very public fallout with Elon Musk. That's it.
Come on, man. And I'm definitely 100% with you. When we talk about the state of the nation, we got a lot of disgruntled seniors. We got a lot of our seniors are
going to be are going to really be up against it if Georgia and Governor Kemp aren't able to figure out a way to kind of mitigate some of this reduced funding that's coming from the federal government. So we'll have to see. And one of the things I am going to be doing here in September, I'm going to be going door to door and talking to our seniors and telling them about the effects of this big disastrous bill that Donald Trump has passed, and against the will of the American public. Like, if you look at all of the public polling on this bill, it's wildly unpopular, and yet they still forced it.
Definitely.
Forced it through.
Definitely.
You see,
Definitely.
And so our seniors need to know what's the forecast for them and the things that they've come to expect. And look, again, this is for me. I take it back to the Bible. It says, "Honor thy father and mother." And so that's one of our mandates as a community, is to look after our seniors and our elderly and make sure that in their twilight years they don't have to worry about choosing between medical care, their prescription drug costs, and having food on the table and keeping a roof over their head.
Man.
We should not put our elders and our seniors in that situation.
Man, I am 200% with you. I'm all there. When it comes to cutting funding, one of the group of class of people who are suffering is the Medicaid right now. You know, what is your plan to fight for your constituents who are looking for, health care is quality of life, health care, education, and economic development. We know that.
Well, this is, and now when people ask me, well, why are you running as a Democrat? Why are you a Democrat? Well, it's because I do fundamentally believe that the Democratic Party platform is geared more towards people who will be affected by what you were just mentioning. Working people, elderly people, people on Medicaid, people in our society that would be considered the least of these. What I can do in my official capacity, once elected to the state legislature, is work in conjunction with my colleagues, Democrats, and even Republicans who may be moderate or who agree that we should be making sure our seniors and our elderly are being taken care of, and passing legislation that seeks to do that.
Gotcha.
Now, again, because of we have the elephant in the room of this reduced funding from the federal government.
Yes.
Who's to say how it could play out or what can happen? Again, for me, when it comes down to legislation, the way that I vote, it's going to fundamentally reflect the constituents of my district. But it's going to come down to language of how these bills are written. What's the objective, and what is going to be the projected effect of that legislation. But one thing I can guarantee voters is that I'm going to go there every day thinking about them and fighting for them, not kowtowing to party politics.
Gotcha.
And not kowtowing to corporate interests.
Man.
I think there's been too much of that.
Most definitely, man.
Absolutely.
I am 200% again, 200% with you on that. Now, another important issue that's coming up is the morality rate in Georgia. Georgia's 9th.
Yeah.
In the United States when it comes to women's morality and childbirth, and you taking on the initiative to partner with Connecting Henry.
Absolutely.
In that initiative. Tell us the state of where we are in Georgia.
Well, this was something that I found out about last year.
Okay.
That Georgia's maternal mortality rate is exorbitantly high. It's the 9th highest in the nation. Now, one of the things that Governor Kemp likes to assert is, which it may be true, it is true, that Georgia is number 1 for business, but it's not number 1 for families. That's the problem, Governor. It's not number 1 for families. It's not number 1 for children, and it's not number 1 for seniors. It's not number 1 for nursing and expecting mothers.
Correct.
And when you look at the maternal mortality rate and the data, we know that it disproportionately affects women of color, namely black women, and even white women in rural communities.
Okay.
And so if you look at what's happening with, again, the defunding from this big, beautiful bill, what do we think that's going to do to that maternal mortality rate? It's going to make another obstacle.
Yes.
Instead of giving women and families opportunities to be able to, look, in the 21st century, a woman should not be going into childbirth with the prospect of facing death.
Absolutely.
If we can figure out how to put a man on the moon, we can figure out how to make childbirth safe.
Correct.
The only reason why we haven't done it is because we haven't prioritized it.
Absolutely.
And so, again, just as look, I have a wife. We have 6 children.
Yes.
And, glory be to God, she had all of her pregnancies were simple, natural birth, no complications.
Okay.
But what about women who aren't as fortunate as her and died?
Yeah.
And when you look at the maternal mortality rate, it just comes down to the fact that there aren't resources being allocated.
Correct.
And again, because we don't see this on the news, we don't see it on TV.
Okay.
It's not really in our consciousness like that.
Right.
But it's a major issue. A lot of it is coming from women hemorrhaging to death. Some of it has to do with domestic violence.
Okay.
Some of it has to do with substance abuse.
Yeah.
And so we have to have strategies in place to mitigate this issue. Definitely. No more dead mothers. And look, on my watch as state representative, I'm gonna fight for that. It's something that I care about. If you look at it, I love children.
Yes.
So I want to make sure that we're taking care of.
Gotcha.
Of our mothers, and that was the impetus for us collaborating with Connecting Henry, Barbara Coleman, Mayor Sandra Vincent, even the National Parents Union. We're going to have Brother Jason Allen is going to be in attendance, and so we're just bringing people together.
Okay.
From all walks of life, nonpartisan, to, like you said, Voices of the Village. Solutions start with conversation.
It definitely does.
So we're going to have that conversation with experts and regular everyday people, so we can formulate solutions. One of the things that we want to do is we want to make sure we're allocating funding for doulas and midwives.
Okay.
Because again, as I stated, when you look at the maternal mortality rate, especially in rural areas, which much of my district is rural, it's because of hemorrhaging, where these women are basically just bleeding to death.
Wow.
And so if we have funding for doulas and midwives, well, that can be a way to mitigate that. And look, even if you look at the all these hospitals that have been closing, that has an effect. See, all this stuff is connected. We are on an island, and so when you see less money being allocated for Medicare, Medicaid, when you see hospitals having to shutter their doors or reduce services, then we're going to see a precipitous climb in the rate of the maternal mortality because we aren't making those investments in hospitals and healthcare services.
It's so funny how you correlated, Georgia's number one in business, but it's not number one in family, because and the mortality rate with childbirth, it all sets the tone. Are we putting emphasis on full throttle households and back to the village again? Mom, dad, brother, sister, grandmama. What are we living in that village? And we say, it's almost like, guys, we get a girl pregnant, it's the baby mama. It's like it's the whole. It the mentality trickles all the way down into the community that it wants to affect. Man, this thing's so deep. We gotta start paying attention, man. And
absolutely. I'm a big proponent of family values.
Okay.
I'm a big proponent of men assuming responsibility for who they choose to impregnate.
Yes.
And taking care of their children.
Okay.
And again, on the other side of it, it's investing in our workforce and our labor force. Look, one of the issues that's affecting the maternal mortality rate, and I mentioned this, is domestic violence.
Yes.
If you look at the data, pregnant black women are more likely to be harmed by their mate than other groups of women. Wow. And a lot of that is because of the economics. It's like James Carville said in the 90s, it's the economy, stupid.
Yes.
And so we have to have programs where we're investing in the development of workforce, where you don't have to go to a 4-year university to be able to make a doggone living.
Man, you better say it.
Right? You shouldn't have to take on $100,000 in school debt for you to be able to put food on the table and take care of your baby mama, or your wife if you want to marry it. See, these are the types of, because of the policies that's being pushed, especially under MAGA. These are the types of positions that people are being forced to take.
Yes,
it's un-American and it's counterproductive, and all of the data shows this. At the end of the day, it's socio-economic, and so we have to be willing to invest in the people.
Man, 100% with you. Campaign coming up 2026.
Absolutely.
Tell us anything you would like to share with the people about your campaign, how they can support your campaign.
Right.
All the things that you're doing between now and I believe it's November to get you across the line.
Well, look, I'm going to be out and about in the community.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, they have Tunnel to Towers coming up this Saturday. I'm going to be out there, have representation out there, giving out free water to people. Man. Being in front of them, letting them know that I'm a part of this community. I'm committed to representing and fighting for them. We have the Maternal Mortality Town Hall September 27th at 10 a.m. at Victory Tabernacle Church.
Okay.
That's going to be a great event, coming together to come up with solutions to address that issue.
Okay.
October 25th, I'm having my campaign kickoff.
Hey.
Right there at Manuel's Tavern in
DeKalb
County. Come out, donate to the campaign.
Okay.
Listen, if you hear this podcast and you believe in what I'm saying and you like the cut of my jib and what I'm saying is resonating, get in touch with me. Email me at Mishael White, 4, Georgia@gmail.com. We need volunteers. We need people who would be willing to phone bank. We need people who would be willing to donate to this effort, because we fully intend on flipping this seat in 2026. And God willing, we're going to get it done. Now look, I know people have become accustomed to a certain type of politics in this climate. And the thing that I want them to know is, even though I'm a everyday working Joe, I have more to offer.
Yes.
And look, it's going to be a rigorous campaign with my opponent. She's a politician. I'm sure she has political aspirations, but we know what politicians do.
Yes, yes.
Me, I'm just a truck driver, and we know what truck drivers do.
Yes, sir.
We deliver.
Yes.
So when I tell you I'm gonna get it done, I'm gonna get it done.
I'm gonna get it done, man. What I was just getting ready to ask you, man, what's your message to the hardworking man? But you already said
right,
we deliver.
We deliver.
You know
how you know I'm gonna do what I say I'm gonna do, because I've been doing it my whole career.
Man, I appreciate that, man. Any shout outs you would like to give to any local businesses, any local partnerships?
Showtime Kitchen and Lounge, come check us out. You know, we have on Saturday we have the Spades tournament. We just had one Sunday. It was a good turnout. You know, great food, great atmosphere. We always have something going on. So come check us out. And to all of the people out there, District 81, holla at your boy. Let's get it done.
Man, you guys, thank you for tuning in. Mishael White, candidate for District 81, House District 81, man. You make sure you guys go out and you support. Follow his campaign. How can we follow your campaign online?
You can check me out at Facebook, Mishael White for Georgia.
Okay.
Or you can check me out on Instagram, Mishael White for Georgia. And again, you want to send me an email, it's Mishael White. That's MishaelWhite, the number 4, Georgia, at gmail.com.
Man, thank you for taking the time out to come on our show. Thank you for all you're doing in the community. We're going to be following your campaigning. We're going to be keeping you guys in touch of what's going on with candidate Mishael White for House District 81 of Georgia. Thank you guys for tuning in. You can tune in every Wednesday. Game Changers Media Network, Game Changers Magazine, Voices of the Village podcast, where change starts the conversation.
Justice and peace and equality. Now the world they will see. That's why.